Alright guys, today I wanted to make a video on La Liga specifically because obviously with the news of the Super League potentially making a comeback after its two-day reign in April 2021 and following a near two-year hiatus, Barcelona, Real Madrid and Juventus have brought it back. But I want to focus on Barcelona and Real Madrid because it seems though that these two clubs are absolutely desperate for this Super League to come to the forefront of European football, and the main reason for that is obviously going to be the financial benefit for it. That is pretty much the reason behind any big decision in football these days. Sadly, I think the English Football Association is generally a bit more focused on the actual, fan bases and, the actual game itself rather than finances. So I think they deserve a bit of credit, but I think individual clubs where it's not an English-owned business or a business owned by, a local businessman from that country, when it's owned by foreign people, they sometimes put their bank account first, sadly in football these days. But with Barcelona and Real Madrid, I wanted to discuss the potential decline in La Liga as a whole. I think it hasn't declined as much as a lot of people think. I just think that the golden age of La Liga was obviously when Barcelona and Real Madrid were the two biggest teams in European football, two best teams in European football. Barcelona had the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, Puyol, Abidal, Piqué, Busquets, Pedro, like all these great players. Real Madrid obviously had the likes of Ronaldo, Xabi Alonso, who else? Karim Benzema, obviously, I mean, he's still there, he's been going for years. Marcelo, Sergio Ramos, Pepe. You can even go there's a 10-year stretch really, isn't there? It's from the late noughties to early mid 2010s. I'd say up until maybe around the time Cristiano Ronaldo left for Juventus in Serie A. The Spanish league had all eyes on him. Everybody was interested in the rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And obviously you had Atletico Madrid, who won the league in 2014, I believe. They also won it in 2021, but they could certainly rival them, and they did win a couple of Europa Leagues, I believe, in 2010 and 2012. So you had three very good teams, and also behind that you had the likes of Sevilla, who had very good players, Valencia, Villarreal, Real Sociedad for quite a few seasons that I seem to remember as well, Athletic Bilbao. You had quite a few solid teams. Malaga even had a great team at one point in 2013, I think. But it just seems as though the league isn't. It's not that it's not as competitive, but it just doesn't seem as full of stars as it once was. But I personally don't believe that it's actually declined as much as a lot of people like to make out. Obviously, right now in the world of football, there is a Super League. It is the Premier League. If you look at how much money gets spent by the 20 Premier League teams compared to everybody else in Europe, it's incredible, really. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but what I'm saying is it is ridiculous that one league right now is so dominant financially, and that is because all these teams in Spain and Italy, in particular, are they're sort of been ruined by COVID and their own financial stupidity. Like the amount of money that Juventus, Barcelona and Real Madrid spent in the years prior to COVID was mindless, really. And I know you can say, well, Germany and France aren't doing much better either, but I think in Germany and France it's different as well, because there's a clear team in Germany and France who is the best team in Germany. It's obviously Bayern Munich, and in France it's PSG. I know in the past 10 years or so there have been challenges for those teams. PSG have obviously had Monaco and Lille in the past 10 years, and Bayern Munich, you could argue, have had Dortmund and Leipzig. But they're dominated. And you could also make the argument, well, for Serie A, Juventus won the league 9 years in a row, but it always felt as though they had a challenger who came very close at all times. Like, for years it was Napoli, Roma, AC, both Milan teams. But to me, it just seems as though the financial stupidity of Barcelona and Real Madrid is what has ruined them, really. I don't think the league as a whole has actually declined too much, and I think that does make it a more competitive league. But the problem is the Premier League is just so far ahead right now, and the Premier League has just got so many eyes on it as well. You've got all of Asia, all of America, all of Australia, and all these countries that where football is becoming, more mainstream, and that there's bigger interest in it. They're all going towards the Premier League because it's first of all it's a more brandable league. It's definitely advertised in better ways to these markets, and I also think that the fact that La Liga has lost so many of its stars in the past 10 years, because I know I've mentioned Messi and Ronaldo, but there's so many other players. Real Madrid, if we go through them, they've lost Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, players even maybe not the more significant ones like Xabi Alonso, Isco, James Rodriguez. Barcelona, they've lost. They have Messi, Neymar, Luis Suarez. A great front three, but what do they have up front now? Lewandowski's a great striker, but he's not, one that people see as the future. Is he? He's in his. I think he's 34. Is he? So he's still in great form. Don't get me wrong, but it's not gonna go on forever. And it's not really a team full of superstars anymore, either of them. Like, you used to see like the Ballon d'Or team of the year. I remember in 2012, I think all 11 players were from that La Liga. I think there was something like 6 Barcelona players, 4 Real Madrid players, and also Falcao from Atletico Madrid. And a big question is, where's it all gone wrong? And I just think it is the rebranding of the Premier League. It is the league where anyone can beat anyone. On top of this, there is also the question of, is La Liga going, if it has declined La Liga, is it getting worse? And is that a reason why Florentino Perez and Juan Laporta are desperate for this Super League to go through? I don't think it is, because I think no matter what, the big 5 leagues in European football are always going to be the big 5 leagues in European football. Like, I know the Portuguese league, the Dutch league, occasionally you have a Benfica or an Ajax who do well in the Champions League, get to like quarterfinals or semi-finals. But it's just, if you look at the teams in the bottom half of those tables, and it's just like, no, they're not good enough to be seen as a really competitive league. So for me, I don't think it's declined as much as a lot of people like to make out, but it's certainly no longer the biggest European league, and a lot of that has got to go down to the financial mismanagement of the leaders at these clubs, at the head of Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. Another thing I think you could also suggest is maybe a few of the teams, you know, who have always been outside chances, like Valencia. Obviously, they're not in a good place right now. Valencia, they don't seem to be competing as much in like the Europa League or anything. Like I can't remember the. Well, I guess Villarreal and Sevilla have won it recently, but it never seems to feel like Spain dominate like they did a decade ago. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the situation on La Liga. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.